The Galactic Concord had long-established laws governing contact with humans. Most of them boiled down to one thing: avoid direct neural contact. On paper, the law sounded scientific, even respectful. In practice, it was fear, old, cold fear wrapped in the language of diplomacy. But Ambassador Kethel of the Zalari Dominion was not like the others. He was a mind weaver, trained from hatchlinghood to brush the consciousness of others, to peel back the layers of memory and emotion with the precision of a scalpel. And he was curious, fatally so. The room aboard the Virilax diplomatic station was quiet, sterile, bathed in soft blue light. Across the metal table sat the human. She looked far too calm for someone surrounded by layers of security fields and biocontainment measures. No armor, no weapons, just a black jumpsuit and a steaming mug of something dark and aromatic. Her name, tag read, Dr. Harper Wells, xenopsychologist. She didn't flinch when Kethel entered. Instead, she tilted her head and smiled, faintly amused, like a predator humoring a particularly bold prey animal. Kethel spoke first, his voice layered with synthesized tones. I appreciate your willingness to meet in person. Most humans avoid us now. She sipped her coffee and shrugged. I'm not most humans. You are alone. My team's behind glass. You're not either. I requested this session for a reason, Kethel said as he removed a crystalline glove from his ceremonial pouch. It shimmered with embedded neural circuitry. I seek to understand what you are, not through reports, not through rumors, but through direct contact. Harper's smile vanished. You want to touch my mind? Kethel nodded slowly. Yes. Every alien telepath who's tried that ended up hospitalized, she said evenly. The lucky ones, anyway. I'm not them. No, she said. You're more arrogant. He ignored the warning in her tone. With ritualistic precision, he slid the glove over his three-fingered hand and extended it toward her across the table. She hesitated for a breath, then leaned forward, her fingers cool as they met his. Skin to skin. Connection established. The world went white. The scream wasn't audible, not yet. But Kethel's mind was already burning. Human thoughts didn't just flow, they exploded. Emotions stabbed like glass shards. Grief, searing and bottomless. Rage, ancient and patient like magma. Fear twisted into humor. Love hidden beneath trauma. And deeper still, something no language had words for. The raw will to survive. Not as instinct, as choice. He fell through her memories. A childhood on a burning colony, watching friends and family die in riots. Her father's hand, dragging her from rubble. The military academy. The first time she felt blood on her hands. Alien missions. War. Loss. Command. Rebuilding. And every time life tried to break her, she didn't bend. She hardened. Kethel felt himself scream, but it wasn't vocal. It was mental, a high-pitched psionic screech that fractured the psychic channel like a glass bridge hit with a hammer. He tried to retreat. The glove wouldn't let him. He yanked harder, ripping his own neural threads out with it. Harper didn't move. Kethel stumbled back, blood leaking from his ears. His breath came in ragged gasps. Then came the real scream, wet and primal, echoing through the room and past the reinforced glass. Monitors shattered. 2 guards collapsed, unconscious. Harper stared, unmoved, as Kethel dropped to his knees, eyes wide, mouth open in stunned horror. And then his body went still. The ambassador of the Zalari Dominion was dead before his head hit the floor. The alarms were deafening. Doors burst open. Security poured in, weapons trained on Harper. She lifted her hands, casually, fingers still holding her coffee cup. What did you do? The station commander barked. Harper didn't look at him. She was still watching the corpse. I told him not to touch me. The investigation was swift, brutal, and inconclusive. Every scan, every neural residue readout told the same story. Kethel had suffered massive psychic trauma. His mind had been shattered the moment the human's memories touched him. There was no sign of aggression, no sign of malicious action. Just contact, just exposure. As if the sheer intensity of the human experience had detonated within his brain like a neutron charge. The Zalari Dominion was furious. The Concord issued apologies, but they couldn't deny the truth. The warning that had always hovered beneath their policies was now backed with undeniable evidence. Never attempt neural contact with an unshielded human. Inside a dark room deep in the Terran embassy, Harper was alone. The lights were off. Her coffee sat cold. Her eyes were distant. Something in her had shifted. Something had woken. In a classified file uploaded to Earth's Department of Xeno-Threat Response, the incident was listed under Project Mindfire. The final line of the report was locked behind 5 layers of clearance. Subject remains unaware of full psychic potential. Recommend continued observation. Do not inform subject. Under no circumstances initiate provocation. Harper Wells looked up at the stars from her chamber window and blinked slowly, unaware of how many species now feared her touch. The stars blinked back. Somewhere, far from Earth, the echo of a scream still lingered in the minds of those who had heard it, and none of them would ever be the same. The Zalari Dominion buried their ambassador with full honors, but no one attended the ceremony without a psi dampener implanted behind the ear and a reinforced psi shield laced through the bone. The footage of Kethel's death, though redacted for public viewing, spread through the underground diplomatic circles like wildfire. One frame leaked. Just one. A single moment frozen in time. His hand still touching hers, eyes wide in existential terror, blood spilling from his nose. The damage to the station was written off as a security system's failure. But those who had been there whispered. They spoke of pressure waves that shouldn't exist in a sealed chamber, of light that pulsed not from bulbs but from somewhere else. The silence after the scream was worse than the scream itself. And Harper? Harper disappeared. Officially, she returned to Earth under medical supervision. Unofficially, she was classified Tier 0 containment, meaning she wasn't just monitored. She was isolated, not because she posed an immediate threat, but because no one knew what threshold she stood at. The brass called her a proximity event, something potentially cataclysmic if left unstudied, something far too human to control. Her temporary quarters were beneath the Colorado mountain range, inside Facility 7, the kind of place that didn't exist on maps and didn't answer to civilian governments. She spent her days in silence, answering the same questions with increasing weariness. What did she feel? What did she see? Did she know what she'd done? She told them the truth. She hadn't done anything. They didn't believe her, but the truth unsettled them even more. What rattled the psychologists and the AI profilers wasn't what she said, it was what she didn't say. Her brain scans showed irregular neural oscillations, high-frequency bursts that matched no known psychic waveform. She wasn't emitting psychic energy. She was absorbing it, folding it into herself like a neutron star drinks light. They started using remotely controlled androids to conduct interviews. No organic staff, just in case. Harper watched them with quiet, measured patience. Every time they tried to push further, she gave them less. She wasn't trying to be difficult. She was just trying not to explode. Because ever since Kethel died, something inside her hadn't stopped moving. It began as a whisper, a voice not her own. Then 2, then 10. By the 4th day underground, she could hear the thoughts of people she had never met, people dozens of kilometers above her, walking through cities, arguing with lovers, mourning losses they didn't know how to process. She didn't try to listen. She just did. The voices were constant, like wind against glass. Some were peaceful, others were violent, and one, just one, was screaming. She thought she was losing her mind, until the door opened. Not the blast door, not the security vault entrance, just a small side panel, sliding open like it wasn't supposed to. A woman stepped through. Not military, not a psychologist. Short, salt gray hair, civilian clothing, sharp, alert eyes. Harper stared at her. You're not part of the team. The woman nodded. Neither are you. Who are you? I'm the reason they haven't dissected your brain yet. That got Harper's attention. So, you're my guardian angel? I'm your warning. The woman sat down across from her. No fear. No weapon. You're going to start hearing more voices, she said. Not just thoughts. Echoes. Residue. The remnants of other minds. People you've touched. People you've never met. You'll see places you've never been. Feel emotions that aren't yours. Smell burning cities. Hear dying screams. All of it real. I already am, Harper whispered. I know, the woman said. You're becoming a mirror. Every strong psychic contact you make, voluntary or not, leaves a dent in you. But unlike most empaths or telepaths, you don't reflect it back. You keep it. Every trauma, every memory, every death. That's not possible. Not for anyone else. The silence between them deepened. Harper could feel the woman's heartbeat. Steady, unafraid. So what am I? She asked. The woman tilted her head. You're what happens when a species evolves in hell and comes out laughing. That night, Harper didn't sleep. Not because of the voices. Because she finally realized that Kethel hadn't just died from exposure. He'd seen something inside her. Something true. And it killed him. Elsewhere in the galaxy, the fallout began. On the Zarkith moon stations, a coalition of psychic-prone species began compiling a list of prohibited minds. Humans topped it. Not their weapons. Not their ships. Their consciousness. Reports from a mind academy of Corin, 7 described contaminated thought patterns in students who had been exposed to human literature. A study of Terran poetry had to be banned because the emotional resonance caused 3 instructors to enter comas. One psychic described it like this: human thoughts aren't shared. They're inflicted. The Concord began emergency hearings. Some wanted full quarantine of Earth. Others, complete diplomatic severance. But a few, the intelligent few, said something worse. They said, we should be very, very careful, because we do not understand them, and because they might not understand themselves either. Harper sat alone in the dark. Her eyes weren't just seeing anymore. They were remembering. Memories not hers. Worlds she'd never visited. Species she'd never met. Names she couldn't pronounce. They fell on her like rain into a well, impossible to stop. Somewhere deep inside her, something old stirred. It didn't speak, but it was awake now, and watching. She whispered into the dark, to no one, to everything. I didn't mean to kill him. And from inside her own mind, 1,000 voices answered. We know.